I've just had a chat with a small group, a fairly small group, much like this one, I suppose, about some of the effects of the present war in a geostrategic context. And when I say the present war, as always, I'm talking about not just the war in Ukraine or the war in Iran and the Gulf, but the wider idea that we are seeing a single World War 3.0 with more than one theater of operations at different levels of intensity focused elsewhere. And why is that important? It's important because, for instance, we're currently seeing the Royal Navy shifting resource towards the Middle Eastern theater of this war, potentially away from the Arctic, away from the standing NATO maritime patrol number one in the Atlantic. And therefore, we're seeing perhaps a successful Russian dislocation or successful Russian-Iranian dislocation of NATO resource towards the Gulf, similar to the successful dislocation of American anti-missile defenses away from South Korea towards Southwestern Asia. I didn't mention South Korea in that discussion. Sometimes I wonder at my own ability to read off of my own notes. So what is important on this note card, apart from stripping Korea of missiles? We understand that energy supplies through the Strait of Hormuz are affected or impacted by the present war. We understand that oil has gone above $100 a barrel, and that's sort of a magic number because everyone thinks that when the price of oil goes above $100 a barrel, the world starts to think more seriously about alternatives. And alternatives to oil are on offer from, for instance, China, who are manufacturing solar cells and batteries, although, of course, they're using energy to do that. But a lot of fertilizers are based on urea and on sulfuric acid. One of the main sources for sulfur, for sulfuric acid, is the natural gas industry. And one of the key feedstocks for urea, likewise, comes from is ammonia that comes from the natural gas industry. And turning hydrocarbons into food is one of the great success stories of the 20th century and now into the 21st. If the price of urea-based fertilizers or phosphate-based fertilizers goes up because the feedstocks are choked at the Strait of Hormuz, the alternative is, well, one alternative is to buy more of it from the Russians, if the Russians can raise their productivity accordingly. But these input prices are going to run up the price of fertilizer. Running up the price of fertilizer means running up the price of food. And that means people will already be going into commodities traders and buying grain futures at a higher price. And of course, pork belly futures at a higher price. And we can expect to see, I would suggest, higher prices for food over the next couple of years. And those might be fairly sticky high prices for food. Because even as the price of energy starts to come down after this war ends, especially if we can avoid destroying too much Gulf refining and transporting infrastructure, we are not going to see the price of we're not going to see the price of food come down quite so easily. So take this as a quick brief from me to tell you to keep an eye on the price of fertilizers, keep an eye on the price of food in the years to come, because this war, like all wars, is unpredictable in its effects. Choosing to degrade Iranian military capability in the next 10 years, which has emerged as an American war aim, is a goal that is easy to sign up to. But it's not a goal without a price. Thank you.